fucking townland is lit all over. It's over. World's biggest Alex Joner. Holy fucking cow. This fucking townland is all over. It's over.
Sunday morning. Give me a little audio there, Autist.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
All right.
You sound good to me.
Yeah, I think so.
How's it sound coming through there on your end? Our audio levels are good. We're so fucking professional. Oh man, let's see how this new chat looks here in a second. You know what I didn't do again is put in a transition for this song, so it's just gonna cut off again. Awkward, but we are now rebranded. Oh, did I do it right? It's still going? I did do it. I forgot about that. So I should then.
You gonna be able to like just fade it out?
Hold on. I don't remember what button it
All
is.
of my sexual fantasies involve handcuffs.
Nice.
I'm pretty happy with that.
Nice.
I'm just gonna stop it, which I should be able to do also.
That is pretty good.
Welcome to the third content. Jesus Christ, the third something. My name is John Ward. I'm a professional content creator. Happy Sunday. Awesome changes here pointing out this chat should be a little more pimped out. Hopefully you're seeing the pimped out version there. Channel members like Linda Love has the icon and the colored name. Deacon Mojack's not with us today, by the way. So I'm going to carry it here for a second. But we have a plan. Quickly on memberships, it's I've updated that on YouTube to allow people to, as Linda's doing, have a little bit of a feature. So I think that's like $1 a month. And then that little yellow logo next to her, which she can also use as a custom emoji in the chat, that updates. So it's 6 months, you get a new one, and there's no additional charge or anything. And then that shit. I don't know if you're seeing that fucking thing, that little hand. I fucking hate to say this, and I might have to shut this down because I know what you assholes are going to do. But if you type emojis up to 10, they should fucking fly across the screen. I'm probably going to make that members only. So that's some immediate changes. And then, of course, thanks to Dodger for this fucking awesome logo he made for us. The 3cc. I don't know if you can see that in there. Hopefully this branding all holds consistent across. You look like you always look.
My apologies.
You have a fucking pretty good story here for us in a second. But what we are mostly going to be doing today, yep, here it comes. Jesus. Is talking about, nope. Oh, that's right. I don't have it set up. This video, that's not up right now. We'll play it here in a minute, but this is Tucker Carlson and Mike Benz, and it is basically all the details you could have ever wanted about. We'll just let it go for a little bit. All the details you could ever want about government mass censorship, how that works in the United States. And if you don't know him, the Autist, currently, formerly, and in the future known as 0.92. There you go. I got your even name tag on you properly. So welcome. Normally we would have the Deacon Mojack start us off with a prayer because it is Sunday. And he is not here. I'm not very good at it. I'm going to just take a wild-ass guess that you don't want to do it.
It's not exactly my thing. No.
So let's just say we all have our own thoughts on how that all works. I will offer up a catch-all prayer to whichever system of thought to which you may subscribe. Amen.
Amen.
Either hopefully everything will work out or hopefully it'll all burn down. Depends on how you think about it. Whichever one you tend to want, I hope it comes true for you. Are you a burn it all down or work it all out kind of guy?
I'm probably more of a burn it all down kind of guy.
On that note, segue, tell me what recently happened to you. You showed up today in a very sexy new vehicle.
Oh, you?
And I was like, man, that's a cool car. And you said, well, guess what happened to the other one?
Yeah. So I believe it has rust is the culprit here.
Place
but
me into the story as
Okay.
if I'm you. You're driving down the street.
yes, driving down the street, I take a turn, and all of a sudden, the vehicle is no longer running as smoothly as it should, and it's like the engine wanted to go somewhere other than where the car was.
So part of whatever apparatus physically attaches your engine
the engine mounting bracket
to your car
Yeah,
broke while you were out driving
yeah,
in motion.
yeah.
So your engine just pops out of the hood and looks at you through the windshield. It's like, hey, man.
It was more like a knock. It's like, hey, let me out.
Like you locked in the fucking basement. And this engine was like, it was the movie Cars. No, Maximum Overdrive. I think the book was Cars. Have you ever seen that fucking movie with Emilio Estevez?
No.
Where cars come to life and they're
No.
trapped at like a truck station. It's like part of that great like shitty 80s, early 90s B movies that just were outrageous but awesome. It's just a group of people at a fucking truck stop and then trucks just all vehicles become sentient and start killing people for no reason. Like they're just waiting for them outside and they like go out there fucking...
I would say it was more like you threw a cinder block into a washing machine.
That was your car. I was really excited about Maximum Overdrive that was happening to you. So your engine, so you managed to get where you needed to go.
Yes.
You didn't die. Nice, always a bonus.
Yeah.
Or maybe not, depending on how you look at it. You might have been robbed of your sweet salvation. So you got a pretty sick new all-wheel drive Subaru,
Yes, I did.
which I quite like. That was you made that so much less dramatic. This is that was an Autist 0.9. He almost died. His engine jumped out of the hood of his fucking car on the road, and he's like, "So, here's what happened. I was driving, and I was just like, oh shit, I'm dying right now. Let me just, no big deal. Let me ask you this: do you feel something called? You may not be familiar with this term, emotion."
I think I do. I also think that I'm reserved. So
You think you do, but you've not been able to mathematically prove it yet.
correct.
So you can't. You got to hold judgment.
Yes.
Holy Christ! Fucking love hanging out with you. What I want to talk about today. And first, I'm going to catch some of these chats we saw here. Then we're going to talk about it. But is this interview between Tucker Carlson and Mike Benz, which came out, I think, a day or two ago. I think you're going to quite like this also. But my router, which took me 2 days to figure out where the hardware problem was happening because my internet was half working. So quickly, the MONOMYTH Part 2, some people have been asking about, which is really kind of going to be Part 1. All I've really done is the introduction. The actual series is going to start. It's going to be a nice long video. It's totally scripted. It's ready to produce. I've not been able to do it without the internet, but I think you're going to quite like it. I'm hoping that I'm going to knock that out today after this show now that everything is working. Today, because I didn't have time to really prepare anything, Mojack is not here. He had a video he wanted me to play, which I had every intention of playing. But then I couldn't get the internet fucking working. So that is posted on his channel. Maybe at some point I'll get that worked in here if I can. I'm getting a little better at running all this shit while also talking, but not great. So, hey, Putin. Thank you. Anyway, great interview. Yeah, it's really Mike Benz, B-E-N-Z. So we'll get to that here in a second. But sorry, Mojack, if you're watching. I'm probably not going to get that video to work while also doing the show, but I will try. It is live on his channel, and if I don't get it up now, I'll get it up on the next show. He does have a channel. We're working on getting him to understand how things you don't shoot work so that he can set it up a little easier to find. But anyway, that is my piece. You almost died and had 0 heart rate increase. You think you got more, but you were probably dying and you were like, this is bored. You got more bored as your car was falling apart while you were driving it. Most people panic. Do you have like an opposite of panic?
I don't think so. I think it's.
Do you reverse panic?
There's a one speed.
It's just always complete lucid, computational, algorithmic thought. 100%.
Something like that.
Is that how you sleep? You don't sleep. You wait. Every night you just sit in a chair exactly like this, eyes wide open. You just stare at a wall for 8 hours till it's time to do things.
No, it's a little harder to sleep. Your mind races, you know.
I actually do feel you on that.
Yeah.
So this interview, you have not seen it, right?
Correct.
Because you don't watch. I honestly don't watch a ton of stuff too. We're going to be tackling all the stuff Tucker Carlson has been doing and what's going on in Ukraine in this MONOMYTH series. But this particular interview, things are happening so fast now. Like, you can't get the content out. Let's try to take a break on the fucking emojis if we can for like a second. I mean, I knew this was going to happen. Well, I don't know. If no one's complaining, I honestly don't really give a shit. This guy, talking to Tucker Carlson, pretty much confirms, I think, what a lot of us already know. I might as well get this up here. Let me play a second of this. Oops. Oh, no, that's right. This one.
Act of the United States is freedom
I
of
can hear
speech.
this, and I know we can all hear this. This is just his introduction.
It's because we
can we
have the
confirm
First
in the
Amendment
chat
Bill
that
of
you
Rights.
guys can
We
hear
have
Tucker talking,
freedom
and then we'll
of
get to it.
conscience. We can say what we really think. There's no hate speech exception to that. Just because you hate what somebody else thinks.
So just give
you
us
cannot
a
force
little
that
note,
person
if
to
you
be
wouldn't
quiet,
mind, that you
because
can
we're
hear this, and then
citizens,
we'll get into
not
it.
slaves.
Sorry, this was kind of a shitty
That right,
transition.
that foundational right
Eggplants.
that makes this country what it is.
Yeah,
that
your
right
emojis
from
are
which
gone now,
government
motherfuckers.
flow,
You can't do it while I'm on this
away
screen.
at high speed.
Yes, he
in the face
says.
of
Craig
censorship.
Voss,
Now, modern
thank you.
censorship bears no resemblance to
A
previous
little low. I
censorship
can do something
regimes
about
in
that.
Previous countries in previous eras. Our censorship is affected on the basis of fights against
Okay,
disinformation.
just while he's kind of talking here. So he's saying everything you already know. Shit's fucking censored to fuck. The government has done it. Blah, blah, blah. And then you get the details from Mike Benz in a second here, and that's when we'll kind of tune in. But this shit is pretty crazy, I think. You have so Mike Benz. I did not have enough time or enough internet to fully research. I suppose I'd make sure this works. Yeah, okay. So pause it for a second. Perfect. A little low. Everybody sees happy. Okay. When you see an interview, number one, the interviewer. Who are they? Tucker Carlson. He actually, I believe, mentions this to a degree. He says something about that his father was part of U.S. intelligence. And part of the team that set up a lot of these censorship and spying tools from this toolkit that were created initially to combat the USSR. And Tucker presents it as though his father was doing this from a place of moral superiority, that there was a genuine need for this, which is kind of what this Mike Benz guy goes on to say. And then this has all since been perverted into the world we live in now. You cannot just automatically trust your interviewer. So what we've established, I guess I'm saying, you can take any meaning from this that you want, but Tucker Carlson is the son of a very high-level American United States government intelligence employee. Mike Benz, who I had way less time to research, is a former State Department official. That is true. So that is true. And he now runs essentially kind of like a judicial watch, I think, type group. So he has an opinion, and it's anti-government censorship and whatnot. So you've got to take that with a grain of salt. I don't know who this guy is. Some of you might. But that being said, he goes on to, and let's just get to it here, list off, we're going to watch a chunk of it, but where these censorship and spying apparatus things came from, and I think the key point that's the most interesting is that all of this, we were talking before the show started, originated, all media, everything, was first a Department of Defense project. The government, it was always propaganda, it always has been. So, that being said, I think we're pretty close to the end of his introduction here anyway.
And you can be stripped of your right to express them, either in person or online. In fact, expressing these things can become a criminal act, and is. And it's important to know, by the way, that this is not just the private sector doing this. These efforts are being directed by the U.S. government,
Right.
which you pay for and at least theoretically.
We're not going. This
own
whole
as
thing's
your
about
government.
an hour long. We're
But
not going to
they're
watch every
stripping your
second
rights
of it.
at
But
very high speed. Most people understand this.
This is a really important video to watch.
But they don't know how it
strongly
happens.
encourage you to watch the whole
how
thing.
does
if you get a chance.
censorship happen? What are the mechanics?
How
of
does it happen? What are the mechanics?
Mike Benz is, we can say with some confidence, the expert in the world on how this happens. Mike Benz had the cyber portfolio at the State Department. He's now executive director of Foundation for Freedom Online. And we're going to have a conversation with him about a very specific kind of censorship. By the way, we can't recommend strongly enough. If you want to know how this happens, Mike Benz, B-E-N-Z, is the man to read.
So that's what I was kind of saying. I don't know how true that statement really is. What are your thoughts?
How true?
That
Tucker
Mike
Carlson.
Benz, so he's building up this guy he's about to interview
Right.
as the expert on this.
You don't think that's just a part of?
Well, he's doing his job. That's what I'm
Right.
saying. Is the guy actually the expert on this? What do you think?
I think he's selling his.
Certainly selling himself,
Interview.
but do we know that he is? I think we don't know that.
Well, I think any guy could be.
That's
an
what I mean.
Expert on.
I'm just saying, talking about things you think about anytime you watch any interview is, yes, Tucker is going to build this guy up as much as possible because that makes everything that happens in this interview more impactful.
Right.
And I'm doing this specifically on a guy I think is legitimate because this is just how I approach any piece of media that I watch. Before I even do, okay, who's the guy doing the interview? What is his angle? And who is the guy he's interviewing? So now I know this is a positive thing. He's interviewing this guy as an ally, not an enemy. Sometimes you're interviewing an enemy and there's a lot of animosity, much more like the Putin interview, for example. So he's going to softball this dude, and this dude is just going to tell us. So it's not really an interview. Tucker is using his platform to get the information this guy has to us.
But today we just want to talk about a specific kind of censorship, and that's censorship that emanates from the fabled military-industrial complex, from our defense industry and the foreign policy establishment in Washington. That's
Also,
significant.
quickly, what Tucker is doing right now is called priming. You heard that term?
I mean, I've heard of.
So this is something that is, that term comes from psychology, psychological research. He is, before this interview is even happening, he's preparing you prime first, right? The first thing is, this guy is an expert. This is what's going on. Not that any of that's wrong. I tend to, in this case, agree and think that, yes, that is what's happening. And so I, therefore, will watch this. But you will see tons of shit where you get primed. They do it with Trump as a great example. The racist, evil tyrant Donald Trump was on TV yesterday. You get the idea.
Now,
Set the tone.
because we're on the
Yes.
cusp of a global war, and so you can expect censorship to increase dramatically. And so with that, here is Mike Benz, Executive Director of Foundation for Freedom Online. Mike, thanks so much for joining us. And I just can't overstate to our audience how exhaustive and comprehensive your knowledge is on this topic. It's almost unbelievable. And so if you could just walk us through how the foreign policy establishment and defense contractors and DOD and just the whole cluster, the constellation of defense-related, publicly funded institutions strip from us our freedom of speech.
Sure. You know, one of the easiest ways to actually start the story is really with the story of internet freedom and its switch from internet freedom to internet censorship, because free speech on the internet was an instrument of statecraft almost from the outset of the privatization of the internet in 1991. We quickly discovered through the efforts of the Defense Department, the State Department, and our intelligence services that people were using the internet to congregate on blogs and forums, and free speech was championed more than anybody by the Pentagon, the State Department, and our sort of CIA cutout NGO blob architecture as a way to support dissident groups around the world in order to help them overthrow authoritarian governments as they were sort of billed. Essentially, the internet free speech allowed kind of insta-regime change operations to be able to facilitate the foreign policy establishment's State Department agenda. Google
Actually, this
is
part's
a great example of this. Google began as a DARPA grant by Larry Page and Sergey Brin when they were Stanford PhDs. And they got their funding as part of a joint CIA-NSA program to chart how, quote, birds of a feather flock together online through search engine aggregation.
From day one, this whole myth you've been fed about these Google founders being self-made billionaires is a fucking lie. It was a government grant. Which immediately, so just right off the bat, a fuck ton of shit is crazy. So all the money those guys supposedly have, are they really billionaires? Or are they frontmen for this DARPA? Elon Musk is the big DARPA one right now. He comes and is highly associated with DARPA, which is, holy Christ, I should know what that stands for. Research Project something. Defense and... Oh, I should be able to look it up on the internet. But you fucking know that name. I know all of you do. It's kind of like the most well-known, least well-known government organization that seems to do all the really high IQ shit. Like HARP, like the fucking earthquake weapons, supposedly, and that's all DARPA. So there is this faction of, I think, really smart people, DARPA, and that is where Google came from. And they were hugely pro-free speech at the beginning because this allowed them to export American culture to non-American places and essentially just topple them without ever needing to send in the military. Instead of sending in the military, you send in some Stallone and Schwarzenegger movies, and the rest takes care of itself. This goes great for a while.
And then 1 year later...
which, by the way, Tucker Carlson's father is part of this group creating these tools. That's his father.
Google, and then became a military contractor quickly thereafter. They got Google Maps by purchasing a CIA satellite software.
What? Yep, that's important to know.
Essentially. And the ability to use free speech on the internet as a way to circumvent state control over media in places like Central Asia or all around the world was seen as a way to be able to do what used to be done out of CIA station houses or out of embassies or consulates in a way that was totally turbocharged. And all of the internet free speech technology was initially created by our national security state. VPNs, virtual private networks, to hide your IP address. Tor, the dark web, to be able to buy and sell goods anonymously. End-to-end encrypted chats. All of these things were created initially as DARPA projects or as joint CIA-NSA projects to be able to help intelligence-backed groups to overthrow governments that were causing a problem.
You believe that?
Do I believe that they were
that
utilizing...
all of encrypted messaging and everything all originated from the government, that it's never been...
Yes.
So you do? Yeah, I kind of do too. Okay.
To the Clinton administration or the Bush administration or the Obama administration. And this plan worked magically from about 1991 until about 2014, when there began to be an about face on internet freedom and its utility. Now, the high watermark of the sort of internet free speech moment was the Arab Spring.
Just quickly to make another highlight, 2014 is when this Ukraine shit all kicked off, okay? So he's just, I mean, I'm not trying to fucking be condescending or anything. I'm just stopping it for a little memory retention at the parts I think are key. So 2014 is suddenly changes.
In 2011, 2012, when you had this one by one, all of the adversary governments of the Obama administration, Egypt, Tunisia, all began to be toppled in Facebook revolutions and Twitter revolutions.
Which is true. Remember like Gaddafi and all that shit? Yeah, okay.
Revolutions. And you had the State Department working very closely with the social media companies to be able to keep social media online during those periods. There was a famous phone call from Google's Jared Cohen to Twitter to not do their scheduled maintenance so that the preferred opposition group in Iran would be able to use Twitter to win that election. So it was free speech was an instrument of statecraft from the national security state to begin with. All of that architecture.
So that kind of ties that free speech was, up until 2014, essentially an instrument of statecraft. It was a way the United States toppled other governments. Just using the internet to export all kinds of crazy, destabilizing shit.
All the NGOs, the relationships between the tech companies and the national security state had been long established for freedom. In 2014, after the coup in Ukraine, there was an unexpected counter-coup where Crimea and the Donbass broke away.
So
And they
Putin
broke away with essentially a military...
Unexpected counter coup, which blows my fucking mind, but the whole Putin interview is great for all this. There's a lot of pieces that are going to come together. There's just no way to put them together without spending hours on it. But that's important. So something was happening in Ukraine. We're just going to say, quote unquote, something, 2014. Unexpectedly, because Putin was expecting this, he suddenly becomes an obstacle in a way they weren't ready for.
military backstop that NATO was highly unprepared for at the time.
Shocking.
They had one last Hail Mary chance, which was the Crimea annexation vote on, in 2014. And when the hearts and minds of the people of Crimea voted to join the Russian Federation, that was the last straw for the concept of free speech on the internet.
Never again in the Crimea vote. I don't know how familiar you are with this whole Ukraine geography, but Crimea on the Black Sea. The Black Sea is important because all the fucking shipping you got to do by sea, etc. So they're like, you know what? Let them vote for real. Let's see how they really think. They say, "Fuck NATO, Russia," which you're starting to realize all this if I'm starting to realize that was, again, it's just propaganda. They actually seem to be, when given the choice between NATO and Russia, everyone seems to be fucking choosing Russia, which is just interesting. There's a pattern there. So they let people have an unrestricted internet, and they choose Russia, and so 2000 fucking whatever. Never again, says the fucking intelligence apparatus. There will never fucking again be free speech. Kind of fits with my memory of how the internet has changed, frankly.
As they saw it, the fundamental nature of war changed at that moment. And NATO at that point declared something that they first called the Gerasimov Doctrine, which is named after this Russian military general who they claimed made a speech that the fundamental nature of war has changed. You don't need to win military skirmishes to take over Central and Eastern Europe. All you need to do is control the media and the social media ecosystem, because that's what controls elections. And if you simply get the right administration into power, they control the military. So it's infinitely cheaper than conducting a military war to simply conduct an organized political influence operation over social media and legacy media. An industry had been created that spanned the Pentagon, the British Ministry of Defense, and Brussels into a organized political warfare outfit, essentially infrastructure that was created, initially stationed in Germany and in Central and Eastern Europe, to create psychological buffer zones, basically to create the ability to have the military work with the social media companies to censor Russian propaganda or to censor domestic right-wing populist.
Yeah, like me. Or us. I'm going to stop it there for a second. So anybody that makes quote-unquote wrong-think content that is not flamingly liberal, will tell you in a heartbeat, yes, the censorship is real. I'm fucking one of them. It's real. But I don't think a lot of people understand to the degree to which it really happens. But yeah, I'm getting kind of pissed. Let's keep going.
Groups in
I guess
Europe
I should just.
who were rising in.
I was gonna kind of stop there, but you just were saying you're like, yep, so, right, same page.
Political power,
Not surprised.
The migrant crisis. So you had the systematic targeting by our State Department, by our IC, by the Pentagon, of groups like Germany's AfD, the Alternative for Deutschland there, and for groups in Estonia, Latvia, Lithuania. Now, when Brexit happened in 2016. That was this crisis moment where suddenly they didn't have to worry just about Central and Eastern Europe anymore. It was coming westward, this idea of Russian control over hearts and minds. And so Brexit was June 2016. The very next month, at the Warsaw Conference, NATO formally amended its charter to expressly commit to hybrid warfare as this new NATO capacity. So they went from, basically 70 years of tanks to this explicit capacity building for censoring tweets if they were deemed to be Russian proxies. And again,
That's actually kind of a big deal. The entire way the Western military apparatus now looks at war changed because of this. Mm-hmm. They're less interested in tanks and more interested in this kind of warfare, which I think is maybe showing itself to some degree in Ukraine right now. Because Russia, who I think Putin just made the genius move quite a long time ago, is I just don't really trust these fucking guys. We sanctioned the hell out of them, so they have infinite artillery. They were been producing and are ready to produce on a moment's notice tons of this fucking shit that you actually really... Because when a war goes hot, the whole fucking social media thing is a little less important.
Right.
What this seems like to me, if I can be extremely reductionist here, tell me if you think I'm on track here or not, truly. You're in high school. Everybody remembers high school, so I like to use high school as an example of social. You have this fucking asshole... thinks they're cool kid who's just like a big motherfucker that is just too big for anybody to fuck. Just, you know what? Let them be obnoxious. Whatever. But they're so obnoxious and have an overpowering personality that they still show up at all the fucking parties and stuff even when people don't want them to. That's America right now. It's like the people in charge, I don't still necessarily think they're stupid, like retarded levels of stupid. What I'm starting to realize is they're fucking uncool socially. Like, they don't have social skills. And it feels a lot like this bully is started to realize it's losing control. Mm-hmm. And like bullies tend to do, and why I use high school as an example, because people, I think, do have memories of these kind of people and probably still know them, is they're kind of grabbing all their nearby acquaintances and like, hey, you're my fucking friend, right? You're my fucking friend, right? Because that, like, my one nemesis, who's Russia, on the far end of the hallway, is, like, starting to, I don't know, people are starting to say, like, he wants to fight me, and, like, you guys are my... You're some normal, rational person, and some fucking big person that no one already doesn't really like, don't hate, but don't like, starts grabbing you, and it's like, hey, you're my fucking friend. You're going to be like, get the fuck off me. Mm-hmm. Get off of me. That's what it feels like is happening with a lot. Just get the fuck off of me. President El Salvador, to Ilhan Omar, essentially said that not too long ago. And I don't fucking blame him. Get fucking off of me. It's not so much that I like that Putin guy. It's just that you're obviously a narcissist, and him becoming popular is bothering you, and you're fucking lashing out. And he's becoming more and more popular, and so is his Chinese buddy, the new fucking foreign exchange student, Xi Jinping. They're not talking shit on you, man. They don't talk about you at all. It's you going around with your narcissistic paranoia that's fucking making everybody not like you. So I don't know. Maybe that's a bit reductionist. But that's like what it feels like is why our government doesn't just suck, man. They ain't cool. Like, they're not the cool kids. Not that that's super important, but like they're losers. I don't know. Do you see that? You don't care about that shit.
I think there's definitely a control thing. I think...
Well, that's like the definition of unfucking cool is like caring too much and controlling. You know what I mean? Like class president type fuckers. Like, that's not cool.
Yeah, but do they really need us to say that they are cool?
I think we are not cool. And I think cool is not the number one thing. But I think it's fucking kind of like you can't be a piece of shit. Like, you got to be a human being. I think that's part of the scientific equation.
I just think I don't know that it really boils down to being cool, but I definitely
think
there's something
word,
about
cool.
I definitely think there's something about control,
social intelligence.
Like what causes most of the problems is like, they're not doing what I told them to do, and so now we have problems.
Yeah, and so you know, is that a fucking cool kid that says you're not doing what I told you to? Like, you ever fucking? Never mind, you're fucking too smart for that metaphor. I'm just gonna say that you know what I'm saying. You know.
Well, as it relates to public relations, I like the analogy.
It's obviously countries are not fucking high school kids. But Oh, yeah, I got to manually switch back to that because I didn't fucking... All right, so anyway.
It's not just
fucking
Russian
hate our
propaganda.
government. That's all I really want to say.
These were
Or
now
punch 'em in the
Brexit
face.
groups, or groups like Matteo Salvini in Italy, or in Greece, or in Germany, or in Spain with the Vox Party. And now at the time, NATO was publishing white papers saying that the biggest threat NATO faces is not actually a military invasion from Russia. It's losing domestic elections across Europe.
I don't mean to stop it again so soon, but this has been, people have been saying this on like 4chan for decades. Our government is and has been way more worried about an enemy within than an enemy without for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
In fact, the bigger theory is that there's a cabal of elites that are in cahoots running everything, and they don't have an enemy without. They're the fucking upper crust. So, of course, they're only ever worried about the enemy within.
Mm-hmm.
If you read for 2 seconds about Rome, which is this great example that we have lots of detailed information on, it's the enemy fucking within that they were always worried about, and it was that descent into paranoia that just turned Rome into this shit show of competing power struggles and the fucking social media focus. We got social media in Rome, and then finally, long enough of not building goddamn tanks, is just a bunch of barbarians with tanks show up, and you're like, fuck, we don't make those anymore. We're dead.
Yeah.
To all these right-wing populist groups who, because they were mostly working-class movements, were campaigning on cheap Russian energy at a time when the U.S. was pressuring this energy diversification policy. And so they made the argument, after Brexit, now the entire rules-based international order would collapse unless the military took control over media. Because Brexit would give rise to Frexit in France with Marine Le Pen, to Spexit in Spain with the Vox Party, to Italexit in Italy, to Grexit in Germany.
You fucking know they were sitting in a think tank using those words. Guys, we can't have Brexit, because then we're going to have Frexit, and then Grexit, and then Italexit, and then Grexit, and then little Latviexit. This is what I mean when I say they're not fucking cool. That is such a loser fucking move. You're the coolest person I fucking know. Your engine came out of your car on the road, and your expression never changed.
Yep.
I'm looking.
Yeah.
We got too many screens in this room. Fucking Mike Benz. By the way, I'm going to read some of this. I've been reading the chat. There's some good puns going on there with the Benz. I've seen all of them. I've been reading them. I just want you to know that I saw that. I don't think anybody responded. I saw it, and I appreciate you.
Brexit in Greece, the EU would come apart, so NATO would be killed without a single bullet being fired. And then not only that, now that NATO's gone, now there's no enforcement arm for the International Monetary Fund, the IMF, or the World Bank. Now the financial stakeholders who depend on
So NATO's like, we care more about propaganda than an actual military, so that then fucking Russia shows up with an actual military, and then NATO's like, oh shit, we don't have a military. Like,
Nope.
battering ram of the national security state would basically be helpless against governments around the world. So from their perspective, if the military did not begin to censor the internet, all of the democratic institutions and infrastructure that gave rise to the modern world after...
Again, guys, if we don't censor this democracy, if we don't censor free speech, we're going to lose free speech. Free speech is in danger, so we need to destroy free speech in order to preserve free speech, because it restricts free speech, because we're going to have Frexit and Brexit and Italexit, bro. This really happened. This is basically, I think, what do you call those sticks bishops carry? Like croziers?
Oh, I don't know.
Give me a fucking crozier and the lock to the inside of the door of whatever room those people are in. I'll solve it. Just fucking saying.
World War II would collapse. So you can imagine the
may I ask you to pause
later,
right
Donald Trump
there?
won the
I thought he was
2016
talking to me.
election.
I almost paused. I was like, yeah, hold on, what?
I've never heard anybody explain as lucidly and crisply as you just did. But did anyone at NATO or anyone at the State Department pause for a moment and say, wait a second, we've just identified our new enemy as democracy within our own countries? I think that's what you're saying. They feared that the people, the citizens of their own countries, would get their way. And they went to war against that.
Yes. Now, there's a rich history of this dating back to the.
So this interview,
Yes.
we're 11 and a half minutes into it. It is an hour and 4 minutes long. It's 11:15, so we have 15 minutes left on the show, and my intention was not to just go through this entire interview. But hopefully I've convinced you now that it's fucking worth watching. Have I?
Yeah.
You're really fucking hard to have as the only other person on the show
I
sometimes.
know. I do apologize.
No, I think it's a good interview. I want to spend 15 minutes here. First, I want to try this new chat thing out and read the super chats and whatnot because I super fucking appreciate it. Everybody supporting the channel. We're already having fucking weird hardware issues. And, of course, not making any fucking money. So this is great. Thank you, guys. I don't think that should change anything on that end. Okay, it doesn't. Trideca. 13 with the $13. John, a few years ago, you did. Oh, yeah, fuck. Yeah, wait. This is even better than I was just doing this at the beginning. Hold on. Nope. Oh, cocksucking motherfucker. Red line. Yeah! Hopefully that shows up. God, you have no idea how fucking much of a battle it was to figure that out. And it might not be working. So, Trideca 13, there he is. John, a few years ago, you did some impromptu streams in your backyard with a neighbor drinking beers by a campfire. Was that Deacon Mojack or was that somebody else? That was somebody else. I've actually been in touch with him. Got a lot of weird friends. Does this stay up if I switch to you? Look at that.
Nice.
Notice how I said I got a lot of weird friends and then I switched to you?
Yeah, I knew it was coming.
I fucking love hanging out with you. You know that. Okay, so hopefully is that on the screen? I guess I could have asked you. Yeah, sweet. All right, so in theory. All right, who is next? I can't read that shit. Welcome to World Champion Putin. That's not showing up in my clickable super chat, so I guess it's not a super chat. But thank you. And then this one should show up. Rodline. First, they lie. We are influenced by Russia. 2, they start censoring people. 3, now we're talking fondly of Russia, so now they can say we are Yeah, you start to... This is that whole quote from War Games, strange game, the only winning move is to not play. And this is why I'm very intentionally bringing up this idea of cool kids and shit. A cool kid would just be like, I ain't fucking getting involved in your little stupid shit game. You're running for class president? Yeah, let me see your flop. Give me your lunch money. That's a cool kid. Come on. Not a good person.
The cool kid just mugged somebody? Is that what you're saying?
Well, like if you have, I don't know what kind of, maybe I went to a weird high school or something. Or maybe I wasn't cool. I wasn't cool. I was probably exactly like you in high school.
The idea of a cool kid is like you just don't care about other people.
No, that's the postmodern fake cool. The one strapping shit that fucking 21 Jump Street made fun of. That's not cool either. But not giving a shit appropriately. Like, I think in my head, the absolute coolest possible person is somebody who perfectly nails when and where you should not give a shit. To the exact appropriate level. So there's some shit you should kind of care about, and they exactly kind of care about it.
Yeah, but in regards to the opinions of others?
Oh, well, cool. In that case, cool people don't fucking care about that kind of thing.
Right.
Yeah.
Like, I don't...
Yeah, like literally.
Yeah,
not fuck it, not
Yeah.
I fucking it. They just don't fuck. I literally do not care. So that's what I mean.
Somebody shows up and carries no weight.
Yes,
Yeah.
zero weight.
I understand my opinion, and I have...
That's why I think you're a fucking cool kid. Because nobody's opinions carry any weight with you. Because you don't give a shit. Am I putting words in your mouth?
Not entirely.
No, yeah. That's why we hang out. That's why we haven't killed each other yet. All this fucking kitties. Orange Cat Good. I've been trying so hard to get him to pop up on camera. Is he rubbing on you?
Oh, yeah.
Do I have ADD that I just fucking... I think I might. I got a lot of shit. Anyway, super chats seem to be working and pulling up, which is cool. All right, so let's go back to... Surely there's a fucking memberships button. So anyway, so what I should be able to do, and you've all clearly figured out the emojis I talked about, like let's say I just pull somebody random out of here. Let me get that off. So like, who's this? Jack Dawes, gooning him. So it doesn't have to be a super chat. Apparently the only ones I can't highlight are the fucking member chats, which is stupid as shit. But he's black man wearing a skin suit. I can pull you up on screen when you say awesome shit like that. Also, you will notice, okay, so with no router, I didn't get this figured out. We're kind of, you can probably stop watching the show at this point if you don't care about any of this stuff. All your little YouTube logos which are showing up. Next week, I'm hoping, Rumble, Twitter, blah, blah, blah. Whatever you prefer to watch it, you should all be able to be in the same fucking chat. It'll tell you where you're watching it from. I might get rid of your little channel logos. I don't know if it does. Most people don't even seem to use a logo. It's just creating some noise. But it was and always has been. And, of course, this is, we're going to, like, really make this a Congress as I learn how to do that. So, again, super thank you to Dodger, who made that logo. That logo, that's just a font. He's done a ton of other stuff. He did the thumbnail for this video, which is also fucking hilarious, and a ton of memes and things like that. I wanted to give a quick shout out to maybe I shouldn't say your name. I don't know if you want me to say your name or not, but I've sent the 10 pages of the script. So quite frankly, holy shit, we will be on Quite Frankly. Actually, did I even talk to you about this?
I don't think so.
You want to go to fucking New York on Saturday? You probably can. You?
I can't. I cannot.
I think that's why I didn't ask you, because I knew that, because I checked and it was like, oh shit, it's an off week. But we'll be on Quite Frankly Saturday the 24th at 9 p.m. Mojack and I, in theory, Mojack. I'm pretty sure Mojack's committed to going, so that'll be a fun time. Him in the city. And then I believe I let the cat out of the bag that we're making a film. Have I talked to you about that either? You're obviously going to be involved in that. Yeah, okay.
Oh, okay. I didn't know about being involved, but yeah.
You're the main character. You've been practicing acting, right?
Oh, yes.
Let me see your poker face.
Nice.
The only time you're fucking laugh. But yeah, so that's a week from, less than a week from today now. And Frank's got his new studio up and running, so it's really nice. We should try to get you up there sometime if we can. Even take your daughter up there. It's a fucking really cool studio. We should not take your daughter up. Never mind.
Okay.
I'll tell you why after the show.
Yeah.
All right. I'm pretty happy with this all worked. I always watch the show afterwards to make sure, but I think my producer is saying it seems to have all worked pretty well. We got about 8 minutes left here. Let me just engage with the chat here for a little bit. I think I should be able to pull that up like so. So we probably need to drop the font size down so that we can read that. But I was debating about adding a chat in here and also a chat in here, since we ended up watching it so long. But we'll probably come back to that. But like, so we're talking, and let's say we just want to say Metal California. Keep up the good work. Well, thank you. Isaac Ariel Israel. Are you Claude? No idea what's going on there. Lady, maybe I won't randomly click on chats.
I think you might want to read them.
And then let me just kind of say again, no, it's fucking way more fun to just click them. And now you'll see, there's like conversations happening and shit. Of course, now everyone started chatting like crazy because they're fucking all trying to say crazy shit. Shane says orange cat. Yeah, so this seems to be working. I don't like that little name is orange. I don't know if I can control that hex color or not.
As
it's
opposed,
like, shut the fuck up. Well, it could be like, yellow or something. The same hex code. That might get kind of lost. So anyway. So I don't know
you mean
if
they're not the same color?
That was fucking funny, too. So the Autist is colorblind, and this new car he got has red lights in the dash.
On the dash, yeah.
You can't see him during the day or some shit?
No.
And didn't you say that fucking the car guy, of course, is why even ask any, but he was like, you can replace the bulbs behind it.
Oh, I'm sure there's an aftermarket.
Just pop up the fucking dash and put some LEDs. It's like, I'm not going to do that. Come on, man.
You could just paint your dash.
Sorry, War Factor. I didn't mean to leave you so fucking highlighted. Nordic Nora, the art of knowing is knowing what to ignore. There's many versions of that saying. Vap Philly fan, I'm only here to create noise. So, yeah. As I've bitched about very unprofessionally, I don't have any training in any of this shit. I've had to figure it all out. I think it's come a long way. But what I really need, which I kind of have, although this isn't your job, producer, we have a producer candidate that can be like holding this fucker thing, this fuck. I got too much spaghetti to even hold it up high enough. Put some labels on it so I know what does what. Like, that's you, that's me, that's you, that's some split screen shit. I think this is music. All right, and then, yeah, so you get the idea. This thing is, I think, fucking 15 years old now or something. I got my start in producing rap beats. That's true. That's why I bought this. I bought this.
You're so good at
like
it, though.
50 fucking, yeah, I used it like twice back then. This thing sucks. No, it's pretty fun. It's a learning curve. I got really good with it, and then I didn't use it for like 7 years.
Mm-hmm.
And then I was putting this together, and I was like, man, those fucking Rode Telecaster decks are like $9,000. Isn't it just a bunch of buttons that create MIDI commands? And sure enough, yes, it is. So this is piecing everything. So I got this fucking thing, and then I got to be like, how do I use a MIDI smart pad to control an OBS? And it's like, well, you need to download this MIDI plugin and then fucking code it. I'm like, I don't want to. It's like, okay, well then buy a real fucking piece of equipment. I'm like, let me start coding. So fuck. It's been a good time though. All right, let me get you off the screen there. I'll see. This is like, now we're like fucking way past you. Mark is reeing. I appreciate that. I saw a moonshot here. I wanted to pull you up. Love and light to all your world champions for the week. Yes, so as I was just saying, final thing I'll say and then I'll stop. The chat is kind of more pimped out when we multi-stream, which I've got to do that whole fucking plug-in shit again to figure out and get working. It'll show you which source you're watching the show on, but it'll all be condensed here in one page, which we should be able to full screen. Sweet. If you type up to 10 emojis, they will fly across the screen. I actually am quite happy that after bitching at you, you kind of stopped. So let loose now here in the last few minutes. Someone give me an example
it's gonna
of what I'm
come
talking
back
about.
now.
Yeah, dump them all. What I'll probably, I don't know. We'll see how much it gets abused, but I might make that like members only, which is the final thing. I don't know if like Linda Love or if any members are still watching. If you could send a chat message so people can see one more time how you have the logo and then your code. Thank you for the spoons, the Booze King, who I should be able to. Where's your fucking spoons? This thing is so ghetto. I think I'm going to have to code it every time because when I close OBS, it breaks, which is fucking amazing. But anyway, fuck it. Nice. Nice. So up to 10. I did fucking at least put that setting on. This could have been really bad. I don't think it'll even... And then anyway, if one of you members would, Williams channel, thank you. So your name as the badge updates just on time. You do not need to give more money. I am rewarding you for the time you remember, not the amount of money you give. Your name should be highlighted. And then the badge. And then you get custom emojis. So members can dump those little gorilla things and I'll add more, whatever. But this is fucking great. Who's doing YouTube logos? All right, fuck. It's kind of fun.
And I think they typed 9.
Huh?
So they put 9 YouTube.
Eggplants, fucking shits. Well, that's more than 10, so maybe it doesn't.
Or 8.
This is like, so when I say use a plugin for OBS, you have a free open source. OBS is a really nice program, don't get me wrong. But then you have like some dude in Russia who made the emoji code, and then like some dude in China like made the chat code, and then some dude in India like made the MIDI control, and then you string them all together, and that shit ain't working most of the time, or like it works half the time. But I mean, this is honestly kind of fucking funny. So
Yeah, I think it's good. I think even with people putting in a whole bunch like right now, I don't think it's overwhelming.
you're not bothered by it?
No, I think it.
How about now?
No. And it goes away relatively.
Yeah, I did
fast,
set
so,
that too.
yeah.
They only last for 5 seconds. I
Yeah.
was like, there has to be a time setting
Yeah.
on this.
Yeah.
Sure enough.
I think it's good.
We ain't doing 20 seconds
No.
with unlimited emojis. I bet, although it would be cool to fill up the whole fucking screen. We're there. It's 11:30.
Well, the challenge would have to be we need more people to be doing it then.
Oh, it's the whole engagement. I don't fucking driving engagement. It's so fucking stupid. But I do want it to be fun.
Mm-hmm.
Are
We're getting there. Here comes the
those
blizzard.
fucking Jewish stars of Remfon? Are those stars of David or stars of Remfon? Crabs. Everything evolves towards a crab. I don't know if you know that. Over enough time of evolution, all organisms become... Oh, Jesus. Am I fucking having a stroke? Over enough time, all organisms evolve into crabs. With the ultimate life form being the horseshoe crab, which has remained the same for, I think, like
I don't think I've heard that.
350 million years without changing. It's just fucking... Nailed it. Perfect animal. Any final thoughts? These people... Frankie Figs, close friend of Jimmy the Tulip Tedeschi, is kissing you.
Oh, thank you.
That was a whole 9 yards joke. I know a lot of movies. I usually get movie jokes pretty well. All right, you fuck faces. I am going to switch to our little outro screen here, which I think will kill all of the emojis. And everyone's losing their minds. All right, I think this was a successful kind of first Third Continental Congress without our main second co-host. Thank you for coming. I'm glad you're still alive. I'm going to go on a mission to find something that gets your heart rate up. You're like that fucking guy in Tenet, which is not a great movie, but he's always about like, oh, no one can get my heart rate up. Kenneth Branagh. What if you're gonna have a Russian character? Just hire a goddamn Russian actor, not a goddamn British one.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? He was bad in that movie. I don't get. So I'm gonna Tenet my way out of here. You're gonna go backwards in time, and I'm gonna go forwards. We're gonna do a pincher move. We're gonna end the show.
Wormhole.
Did you fucking see that movie? Probably not.
I want to say I've seen Tenet, but I don't know. I don't
It's
watch a lot
not
of
good.
movies.
On that note, that is it for today. I am John Warden. Until next time, remember, you're a world champion. Don't let your memes be memes. No emojis. Suck it.
I don't know. It was fun with the emojis.
I kind of liked it. What are you gonna go build some fucking houses and shit?
Holy fucking shit.